gosh, the world, the media hasn't been weaponized, so I don't care. But they're done here. You don't care about them. You want to find people like me, right? And then you might want to find people that there are other things. What's really interesting with the New York Times is, okay, I get the digital, I get, the 5-pound Sunday paper, because that's what I do for Sunday afternoon. It takes hours to read a newspaper, right? Just the pleasure of just reading a newspaper without being distracted by clickbait. But then the New York Times tells me, vacations. Do you want to go on a vacation with a journalist? They have internships for teens. And I go like, oh, I have a teenager. You mean that there's a New York Times branded internship program, summer program for teens? I might be interested in doing that, right? So they're pulling me into an elder game of, okay, I get the newspaper, and I get the digital, but I can do a vacation. They have podcasts. They have webinars. Do you want to be part of a webinar with a journalist who's covering the situation in Syria? For those 5,000 geeks in the country who care about that, they get that if you subscribe and if you pay, and so on and so forth, right? And so there are these niches that you can attack. And I know about them because I pay for the New York Times. If I was just reading the free articles on the New York Times, I would not be aware of all these other things that are available to me, right? So you can do that. So you want to find your evangelists, you want to find the people who already want what you've got, have the ability to pay, have the time, etc. But please, please, please don't waste your time with these people. Okay, and a lot of companies do it. Certainly in healthcare we do that. We try to work on the hard cases. It's going to happen. This is like putting a price value on the quality of air, on clean air, or a price value on clean water. It's been typically taken as an externality. People don't do anything on it, and so there's no investment. So that's the first thing that we're doing, and we have a way to address it, which is called the Peace Data Standard. The second thing that we're focused on is creating an industry around peace tech. And the third is frameworks for ethical and safe deployment of emerging tech. But I see you as a person, right? So the two of you have some things in common, but you have these things that are different. But the fact that you had this conversation, you go like, oh, but we're connected here, here, and here. You're not a stranger to me anymore. You're not foreign anymore. And that was really powerful. Airbnb is considered the largest citizen diplomacy effort in the world. And it makes billions of dollars. Peace tech. Third example. If you were to Google the most toxic video game platforms, the one that would come up consistently as number one is League of Legends. League of Legends is run by Riot Games. A couple of years ago, Jeff Lynne, who was one of the chief scientists there, said, boy, we always get rated as being a super toxic environment. Should we do anything about it? Now, do you guys have toxic environments on your platforms in terms of comments? Yeah? Like a lot of news sites and like Scientific American just sort of cut off. They don't do comments anymore, right? Because it was so bad. Well, video games are at the tip of the spear. I mean, if you guys think you have it bad, video games are 100 times worse. Riot Games said, should we do anything about it? Do we have a moral imperative to do anything about it? Do we have a business imperative to do anything about it? And they concluded, yes. So he put together a team of 40 psychologists to address this issue of toxic community. They have millions of players, and they have the ability to run all these different psychology tests and experiments on millions of players. Far more than the psychology department here at Stanford in the basement, where they're going to give you a $20 Amazon card if you show up, and they get 20 people for a study. Here they could get millions of people. They were able to reduce toxic speech by 40%. What if we chose instead to imagine something different? And in imagining that different world, 5 years from now, 6 months from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, using the radical imagination that you have and the resources and power at your disposal. Because you all are powerful. You're in fucking media. Pardon my French. You get to talk to everyone. You get to influence what people are thinking and feeling. Because you have this huge power, what do you want people to think, feel, and do? To create that amazing future that we all say, I wake up every morning and say, hell yes, I know what I'm working toward. That absolutely amazing vision. What is that? And that's the choice that we get. And so that's really the toolkit. Because the future is a figment of our imagination. It's whatever we choose to do. And if we set our vector that it's hopeless, and so we just sit on the couch and do nothing, well then it's all self-fulfilling. So what do you want to fulfill?